try something else here on my bust of a Viking. Is I'm going to have him holding a sword over his shoulder. Okay, now I'm going to take my Viking bust here, and I'm going to put have him holding a sword over his shoulder, his hand like this. He's going to look a lot like this gentleman here, this guy here. And what I'm going to do, the difference between what I'm going to do and what I've done here is, of course, there's his arm is attached to his shoulder. What I'm going to do is have the sword, hand, end of sword, and then a little bit of the his sleeve, and then just kind of come to an end right there, in which the sword will be, it'll be held on his shoulder. Kind of give it sort of kind of an artistic kind of a thing here. So it's going to have, I got kind of the drawing here. The sword got to be a little too big on this drawing, but I like the hand. Kind of, the hand is probably a little too big too. Just want just the wrist. Again, you can do this if you want, if you don't. But I thought I'd give this, we'll give it a look, give it a try. I got some patterns here, the patterns of the hand holding the sword. And and I'll put this on the web, on my internet, or on my website, pardon me. So that's kind of more like what I'm looking for. I've got the sword cut out. Want to have a little extra here so you can shove it into the hole in the hand. And then here I got this a block of wood that I drilled in a pilot hole. That's probably about 3/8 for right now. And I drilled in an angle, because the hand is in an angle. Now, yeah, I suppose if you can probably go like this, but then it'll hurt the wrist. I want the hand and the wrist go straight down. And so, in other words, this would be the bottom half right now, because it's going to go over his shoulder on his right. This is his right hand. And so I will just kind of round things off a little bit for right now. Oh, that's a nice dry piece of wood. Good for cutting, but not good for clean cuts. I'll take the good for cutting. Okay. And sword is right here. So his wrist is going to come down like this. It's kind of right now. It's kind of seems a little larger than it should be, but we'll play with it. And then I'll probably just take a bandsaw later. So that's perfect. That's why I thought this is perfect. I didn't care about that because, and I'm hoping that those little pieces aren't going to get in the way. Where is my chisel? Oh, there it is. This is my beefy chisel here. Just get where the sleeve is going to be. All right. Get this chisel going here. You can take a knife too, or a chisel, doesn't matter. Whichever you're comfortable at. Because I'm cutting the wrist right now. The wrist out. Same here on this side. Just getting started. Anomaly there. Okay, so this is still the bottom, so it's still, we're still blocking it out. Now if we were to look at it this way, get my pencil here, let me put fingers or bottom. Because what's going to happen is that I'll probably get carried away and there. So what we need to do is what's going to happen is here's where the thumb is, and the wrist is going to come up. So we want to take at least this much off, and we'll just kind of round this just a bit here. Same thing. Where's my big chisel? Right there. Well, there goes that pattern. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to take my feed tool to this. Make my stop cut, for heaven's sakes. Do it on this side. I was like starting out with a larger chisel because you get a lot of stuff off quick. And the reason why I like to carve quickly is I've got so many projects in my head. That's the problem. And not too quick where I will hurt myself, but just enough to get the job done and get it done right, and so I can move on to the next. Okay, getting there. Now, according to this, the way I read this is that we can get a little deeper here. Shape that out here. I'm going to have the thumb come in just a little deeper here for now. Still shaping. Same with the top. Now when I look at this angle, and what we want to do is we want to kind of curl this a little bit. Careful of our hole, our guiding hole there, pilot hole, that we don't cut into it. There. See, starting to get there. Now I'm going to just round out a little bit. Just a little bit for now. Now what we want to do is according to this, now this, because the hand is going to be, I want it to be more like, see how this goes? That's how I want it to go. See, I mean, even though if you look at it, we could go straight, but I like the knuckles out, where it's going to come in, and it's going to come down. Yeah, that's a dry piece of wood, all right. Okay. Then a little bit here, minding the thumb. Getting there. Now the thumb and fingers, that's going to be the most difficult. Goodbye to the chips. I want to do this, I just want to take the saw marks off. I just don't like working with saw marks on. Just taking the saw marks off for now. Now on top of the hand, it's going to start, there's the knuckle, so the fingers start here. We want 4 fingers because the thumb's going to come out here. Actually a little bit over because the thumb, since the thumb is going to be, since we're going to be holding the sword like this, the thumb is going to kind of disappear a little bit like this instead of like this. Now the sword, well here it wouldn't, because it's a smaller sword, but if it, since there's more hilt to it, we won't be protruding the thumb out as much. But the thumb is still there. We still want to mind it. Finger, and like this, and the thumb is going to come down over the fingers, around, and it's going to cover only the first 2, and then it's going to come back around like this. Oops, let's get a sharper. Yeah, it's going to come up and down like that. Then we have the rest. I'm going to have a little bit. I'm going to put a little, have the thumb protruding a little bit. So that's going to go, that's not my center line. My center line for the 4 fingers is right here. And it's going to come up. Oops. Come all nice and even. You can get a dial caliper or something. And there we go for the start. I'm going to chisel these in for now. Okay, the fingers are going to go all the way to here, and it's same thing with the middle finger is still a little longer, but the other fingers are going to kind of disappear, so I want something like that. Now we're going to go down because it's let's go farther down here for the little finger. Mindful of that hole there. And here's where we can form the wrist some more. And this is going to come around. Where's my pencil? A little more this way. chip out of there. Okay, now let's look at this part here. Pencil. We still want the hand to come up and the pinky to come around. I think the hole is going to have to be a little bigger. There's the pinky. Oops. Yeah, the pinky is right here. It's going to follow, so another one. It's going to follow this, I'm sorry. Follow the inner hand is going to follow the outer hand, of course, because you got the where is one of my chisels here? Now the handle is going to be much bigger than that hole, so I'm going to make the that hole is going to be a lot bigger. Yeah, that's going to be about the right size of the handle. Getting there. I think I'll take a little bit of the pinky finger out of there. Pinky length. Didn't bring the chisel mark all the way down. There we go. Ooh, metal on metal, I hate that. Same thing here. I think that's what I did here. Now you could, if you want to, take a piece of wood and put that here, and create all this all in one cutout. That's why I started like that, and it's just not coming out right. See, the sword and the hand, and you could do that too. I think if I kept working on it, it probably would have worked. You can do that. But I kind of like looking at doing these things one little piece at a time. Now I want the index and middle finger to go in. In which these two fingers are going to go in a little bit here. Just a little bit, not as much. Starting to look good. Starting to look like what we want. And I'm going to round it off just a little bit. Actually, not so bad. I think a little adjusting here and there. I got to make these my sword. So as soon as I get happy with the hand, then I can figure out how big that pin size is going to be. Okay, let's continue with the fingers here. Let's make sure we got everything the way we want it here. There's the pinky. Pinky still has the bend right there. Forefinger, I think they're pretty good. Pinky might need to be thinned a little bit, but then what I want to do now is get the finger out of the way and start digging a little deeper around the finger. I'm going to by bringing the finger out, is go a little deeper between the two fingers. See how that's starting to come out? All the way down between these two fingers. Make sure we don't hit the thumb. Make sure we don't hit our thumb. Now again, this is, like I've said before, this is a fast video because I'm trying to get everything all in one. I mean, I'm pretty sure by now you've figured out this is going to be a 2-hour or 2 DVD set. I don't want to get it into 6 or 7 DVDs. I'm going to round this off a little bit. Round this off. I think the pinky might get a little too big here. Let's just take a little bit. There we go. It looks like a sign of protest. Then we're going to do a little scoop here. Just a scoop. You're scooping, but you're not going to take the bumps out. Come back to the same thing here. Scoop, but don't up to the bump. Like that. And just up to the bump. Same here. Also, it's going to be a little difficult because the way the grain is. I better do it the right way or I'm going to lose a finger. Got a little some goop and pucky in there. And it's just a matter of shaping. Let's get the bump going up. I think this might need to be shaped a little more. I think we're getting the gist of it, and then what we want to do is we look at the hand. It's very interesting. This finger, between these two fingers, there's like a Y, and the other two go off in the other direction. Sorry, you go. So it's actually taking a chip out. But the other two are going to go like this. They're still taking a chip out. And around the knuckle area, we want to scoop or take a chisel. It still looks a little boxy. I still need to do some more rounding out. I need some cleaning out too. Get in there. So he's going to be holding the sword. And what's going to happen is that he's going to hold the sword, and it is the sword that is going to hold. This is where it's going to be attached with the hand dangling. Now you can do another thing, another idea, you know, is you can have like a sword here. That's another idea. Sword here and hand coming out. You can do something like that. All kinds of things you can do. Of course, I wonder how that would work if you had that there. And then you had this shield there. It is so much fun trying to, whoops, this way. Figure out what to do. You can do it this way. There's so many things to do. But then you'd have the sword attached here. And part of a hand, but then you need part of a hand. I don't know. Well, whatever you want, but I'm going to go forward with this. Instant clean. Now, what I want to do is, I mean, other than cleaning up, I got to do a lot of cleaning up on this and adjusting. I want to continue on with the sleeve here. Remember, always put your thumb on the blade, not on your other thumb, like I always get into the habit of. Oh, I'm glad that discoloration went away. I just like working on scrap pieces of wood. I'm a kind of guy who, you know, I just hate waste. I hate to waste things, and if this piece is going to be perfect, especially I played with this wood before. I knew it was very dry and easier to cut. Don't care about that. Okay, now I got it rounded out. Now the wrist, I want it to come in more. You know, because or actually, I'm sorry. You want to go out, come in this way. So you don't want to be perfectly round because you want this wider arm come into a narrower wrist. See, that's what I'm kind of aiming for. Let's see if I don't goof it up. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, of course you can have it any way, which way you want. Yeah, I always like to just show what I'm doing, how I do it. And it's up to you if you want to do the same or go the other direction or another direction. Now it's just a matter of shaping here. Because it still looks a little too flat. I'm relatively happy with it. I mean, it depends on how I want the sword to go and how much more adjustments, quite a bit of cleaning up to go. There we go, that's better. Because we want the thumb, we want it to come like this, because we still want some meat on this side. There we go. There we go. Got some meat around the thumb. Kind of almost looks like some kind of a protest sign there. Now there is, it depends on what you want to do. Take the V tool and, or not V tool, take a round, let's just take a round chisel here, probably number 9. Where's a decent number? This is a decent number 9, and kind of go along the edge and come together. Kind of come together. There. Sort of like that. It's got a little, I think I need to re-sharpen. That chisel's got a little thing on there that, and however else you want to shape it. I think the fingers might need a little more rounding, and then if you want to put in the, I'm going to do some rounding, but I'm going to do, what I would do is, where's my little V? Got my bigger V. Here we go. Is if you want to put the knuckle marks in it, but I'm not going to put it in right now. I'll just kind of demonstrate one. Just kind of didn't want to do all of them now because I didn't want to. I want to round things off and shape things. Put little knuckle marks in. And that's probably the arm part. Put him right there. Now I'm going to play with the sword a little bit. Oops, pardon me. Get you back there. Now I'm going to do something with the hilt. Now, before we even do that, I want to draw the center line. And the blade that I'm going to carve is not going to be too thin because it's going to be holding things up. There's two ways you can do to hold this to your character. You can either, and I always like to put dowels. Now you can have it thick enough that you can just drill a hole so far, then you drill a hole as far as you can this way, and then you stick it in there and it would hold. The thing is I mean, it depends on how thick you have this is how strong. Or you can drill a hole all the way through, stick it on there, and then cut it and kind of paint over it and smooth it out a little bit. You can do that too. I prefer the second one because I like to have it nice and sturdy on there. You know, I just don't want it to come off easy and then you have to deal with it. That's the thing. That's the thing. I always hate to have to deal with carvings when I'm already done. Now the kind of hilt that I want to have here is I'm gonna have mine. This is where the handle's going to be. I'm going to have it kind of rounded. You can do whatever you want. Oops. I have it kind of rounded like that. Oh, I lost my lid. Kind of little. One seems to be bigger than the other, but we'll play with it. Well, then therefore the hilt, therefore the blade has got to come to here. And then it's got to go here. Oops, V-tool. Or you can use your knife to cut in a stop cut, but make it a little easier for now. Now we'll cut this right here. Same here. Oh man, I'm going to cut this off right now. I hate sharp corners while I'm holding on to things. Oops, careful I don't put too much on this. Too much blade on that, so it'll break. It's like taking the corners off. A little easier to handle. All right. Again, you can use a chisel, you can use your knife. Just watch the center line. You want to watch the blade too as you're cutting. Take a little off on one side, then on the other, and if it's not enough, get in there. Ooh, careful, getting kind of deep. I might even want to keep it that thick. I'll show you why. Because when you, yeah, we'll keep it that thick. I just smooth it out a little bit here now. Just want to smooth it. And I can always make it thinner later. Now this particular sword, oh goodness, you can have it any which way. I'm going to do the simple, go down the center, sharpen down the center, kind of a sword. And when you thin it out, the edge like this, and you get it to a sharper point, it does make it look much thinner than it really is. Same with the other side. Oops, I think I got a little too deep here. I think the grain took it. The grain took my knife. Well, I'll have to play with that a little bit. Okay, let's look this way. I think I need to smoothen out a little more on this side. Look. Point in it. Now it will be after you get the sword exactly the way you want it. Will you shape it this way? You know, you can see how odd shape it is. I wanted to make sure everything else is in first before we make this part perfect. Try to be careful that the grain doesn't pull the knife in. There. Tip a little more sharper. Oh yeah, other than cleaning up here and there, I'm fairly satisfied. Make it a little sharper here and there too. Oops. Green took the blade in. Okay. I want to go on this end and get it so it fits in. Again, I'd rather have it a certain thickness, and then drill a hole in the hand a little bigger, because I would like to have this more than 3/8 of an inch in diameter. So I'm going to bring it right up to where right down to where I put that V mark in there. And I can thin it this way a little bit, and this way a little bit. See how it centers. So that's going to be kind of about what I want. Clean this up a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to drill the hole a little bigger. I might thin this out a little bit. But I do want to make the hole bigger. Yeah, I think I'm pretty well. I'll leave it alone. Let's see what kind of hole I can drill to put this in with. Now I kind of finish playing with the hilt. Get the saw marks off. Oh, it's kind of hard to handle. Saw and pencil marks off. It is kind of hard to handle. Oh my goodness. Kind of got a little too hacky there from not having any control. Yeah, it's a matter of cleaning up, and I'm going around it a little bit. Just a little bit. There's a little saw mark right there. Round it off a bit. Get that cleaned up a little bit. The rest of the saw marks off. And of course it's a matter of shaping it the way you want it to be shaped. I think it's just now a matter of shaping and this way and that way, and I'll have to come back a little later on cleaning it, but generally. And then I have a pattern for the little thing that comes to the end. It's more of a sort of an egg-shaped kind of a thing, or you can use just about anything, or a big dowel. That's what I was going to plan on doing. I was having a large dowel and just shape it and shove it in there as the handle. So it's going to be more like this. And like I said, I'm going to take a saw and just maybe even more. I have to cut it enough so it won't touch the bottom, with the sword coming like this. Shield.